Until recently, up to 60% of Canada's media was owned by one pro-Israel media mogul named Israel Asper. The legacy of this is that the Canadian media is replete with journalists who oppose anti-colonial causes such as those of the Palestinians and Canada's aboriginals. And of late, such journalists, including the National Post's Jonathan Kay, Sun News' Ezra Levant, and the Calgary Herald's Naomi Lakritz, have been lashing out at certain Aboriginal leaders. Critics accuse pro-Israel journalists in Canada of trying to eradicate a critical analysis of colonialism, because such an analysis leads ordinary Canadians to sympathize with the colonized Palestinians.
Here, look at in Canada, the Zionists are actually starting to see the Aboriginal and the discourse as a threat. Because if Aboriginal have rights in Canada, if they have a case, so then Palestinians have case in Palestine. And I think that this is not something, this is something that may even working subconsciously. Even the victims are blamed. Nowadays, the contemporaneous victims are blamed.
Naomi Lakritz is one of those journalists who came under criticism recently for an article she authored on the death of an Aboriginal child. She argued that discussing the Aboriginal child's death in relation to the colonization of Canada's Aboriginals, which destabilized traditional Aboriginal family models, was, quote, excuses, excuses, excuses. In her article, Lakritz referred to the Aboriginal adults responsible for the child's death as, quote, scum, and her mother in particular as, quote, a piece of garbage.
This is a disturbing thing because, I mean, on the one hand, if she's supporting Israel, then she's arguing for some idea of a collective responsibility, of collective identity, and collective rights. But then she would seek to deny that to Aboriginal peoples. She takes an utterly individualist approach that anything that goes wrong in your life must all be on your shoulders. History can have no part of it, right? And it's very ignorant, and it actually follows in line with, I think it was Stephen Harper who cautioned us against committing any sort of sociology.
Critics say the aforementioned article by Lakritz is merely one example of the increasingly common right-wing journalism that delegitimizes sophisticated analyses of colonialism. The right-wing media outlet Sun News, for example, has been incessantly scrutinizing the financial expenditures of Aboriginal leaders, implying that the grave social problems of Aboriginal Canadians are merely to blame on corruption, rather than the ongoing colonization and displacement of Canada's Aboriginal population. Joshua Blakeney, Press TV, Calgary.